There's a paddock just behind the Buggins country home in Wyong, New South Wales, which has become the proving ground for a would-be world champion. It's here that 17-year-old Dale Buggins tests the machine that will soon take him on the longest motorcycle leap in history. On this occasion, there's only one spectator, Dale's father, Ken Buggins. Ken's a successful earth-moving contractor who now devotes nearly all his spare time to acting as his son's manager, advisor, and technical consultant.
I see that there come out of that last jump, eh?
Yeah, he must have.
How's the chain there? You had some oil on the chain or what?
No, the spokes, that's all. It should be all ready for the big day.
With the spanners.
What?
We best check everyone with a spanner, I think. His hand all right?
Yeah.
What's the front like?
Having a stuntman for a son has not made life particularly easy for the Buggins family. In this business, even success is sometimes dearly bought. Dale claims he's already broken the world record unofficially here on the home paddock with a leap of 130 feet. In doing so, he also broke a leg and several ribs. The family doesn't always relish the continuing drama, but their son has left them with little choice. Dale has pursued his career with quiet but unshaken determination.
One day I told Mum I was going to jump her car on a motorcycle because I've been practicing for my motocross, which is only local. It's only 3 miles down the road. And it got to the stage where I enjoyed jumping so much that I wanted to put a car there and be, you know, most probably was a little bit silly at the time, but I took Mum's car down and jumped over it. And
Did you tell her?
I told her and she said, "You're mad," but when I did it, I was in a bit of trouble.
Of course, when Dad got home and realised what he'd done, he just said, "Well, Dale, just do it again for me."
And he did?
And he did.
How did you feel about that?
Oh, well, I'm kind of used to all these antics up here, really. You know, they're all a bit this way inclined up here, a bit adventurous. And just left it at that. And then it continued from there, you know. Used to get very perturbed about it. But after a while, you know, you just kind of accept these things.
So you jumped the one car, and then that led to you wanting to jump more cars, obviously.
That's right, yeah. It's got, you know, it's just gone out of control, really. I think it's gone mad.
At home, Ken and Dale continue to perfect the act. This cylindrical frame is one of their latest specialities. Dale's supposed to ride into it at 30 miles per hour and then go for a quick spin. But there have been problems.
Oh, that's what happened last time, isn't it?
That's it, bro. It's no good, man.
No,
that's a pretty dangerous stunt, Ken. Well, it used to be. I mean, does the belt come off that often?
Well, no, it hasn't actually. We're going to have to get a new belt. This is actually done at Newcastle show. It did 7 shows on weight ride every time, you know.
What do you actually do? I mean, the bike, how do you get the bike in there?
Well, the bike's demobilised at the moment because we've been welding on it, so all the magneto and all the electrical stuff, you know, when you're welding it buggers up the magneto and that, but the actual act is that it is set up as propped up, it's set at a proper angle, and Dale comes along at 30 mile an hour, slams straight into it, it releases the chock at the front, all this locking device down here, all that locks in, which we've had a lot of trouble with. Dale is already strapped onto the bike, which you see the belt didn't work that time. That would have been fatal had he been actually doing the actual act. It would have thrown him out and probably hit his back.
The perils of the stunt were well demonstrated during a night performance at the Royal Sydney Easter Show.
Did he come out?
You're the one who has to do the stunt. What do you think of it? Is it worth persevering with?
Yeah, I think it's worth, you know. A lot of people enjoy this act. It's something that's never been done before. It's unusual. And the public seems to like it, you know, very much. So.
Do you have most of the ideas for the stunts?
It's half and half, I think. Me and Dad both put our heads together and think of these crazy ideas which people seem to like, so.
Well, it's just not a matter of thinking of an idea and then getting Dale on and go out. As you can see, sometimes we're here till dark rolling this thing around the lawn and trying to get it right. And, you know, as I say, it worked right for the first probably 30 times, and one time it failed, and that one time was pretty disastrous, but you can't even afford 1% failure. We try to base all our stunts or whatever on skill mainly. A lot of people like to see something with a bit of skill and, you know, a bit of work involved that people can see, you know. Something that's not just, you know, like something crazy, real crazy and stupid. Most of our stunts, we like to have skill involved in them, so.
So you got a bit more work to do on this one.
That's right. A few more hours in the garage, I think.
Dubbo, a small town in New South Wales, 160 miles northwest of Sydney. The Buggins team arrives to play its part in the town's annual country show. While others are enjoying the roar and bustle of the funfair, the Buggins team moves quietly to a corner of the showgrounds. Most people are here to amuse themselves. Dale Buggins is here to work. And while work, for him, may involve such trappings as a fanciful car with elevator roof, it is nevertheless serious business. Behind him is a nasty accident at the Sydney Showgrounds, where his failure to jump 14 cars cost him a broken collarbone, bruises, and torn ligaments. In front of him is the world record attempt. But for the moment, he's in Dubbo, a halfway stage between the two. Dale uses country shows, like this one in Dubbo, not only to make his living, but also to prepare for his record attempt. His well-tested motorcycles are standard 250cc Yamahas, with 6 gears and cantilever suspension. Preparations for the event are always important, but Dale has other responsibilities before the show gets underway. In a mobile studio at the showgrounds, Dale undertakes a little public relations as guest of a local radio station.
1 o'clock. We have someone at the microphone I think everyone's heard about in the last 12 months or so. It's Dale Buggins. How are you, Dale?
Very good, Bob.
Well, Dale, you're over at the show here, and you're going to show something we've probably never seen before. You're going for a record on these cars, is that right?
Well, this afternoon the conditions are absolutely fantastic, and I hope to break 12 cars this afternoon at this showground, which has never been done before.
Dale, you say the conditions are absolutely fantastic. What kind of conditions do you look for?
Well, the weather plays a big part, of course. When the grounds are wet, it makes it very difficult. At the Royal Easter Show, I had a bad accident due to the conditions there.
Yeah, I think everyone saw that.
Yes.
And then to the build-up for today's event. Dale comes onto the strains of Fanfare for the Common Man, a seemingly inappropriate introduction for this highly unusual young man in an exceptional occupation. But it's his signature tune, and perhaps it indicates a basic belief that an ambition to jump motorcycles over rows of cars is nothing extraordinary. Before his act, Dale entertains the crowd and prepares himself with a warm-up. In this period, before he attempts stunts that could produce serious injury or even death, Dale could be forgiven for feeling some apprehension, but the excitement of the occasion dominates everything.
I really enjoy the thrill of it, you know. It's pretty spectacular. Everyone enjoys it, and satisfaction too.
How would you describe that thrill to you, then?
Oh, it's hard to explain, you know. It's just, I think it's more satisfaction than anything. I might do a couple of shows and, you know, I'll get a good applause and people enjoy it, so it just gives me a good feeling inside, that's all.
Is the money an incentive?
Now that everything's getting a lot more dangerous, the money, well, the money comes into it, yeah.
An amazing thing. Absolutely tremendous.
Motorcycle jumping is pretty dangerous. Well, just recently at the Royal Easter Show, I crashed on the 14th car due to the conditions. It was pretty muddy and rainy, and I broke a collarbone and bruised my neck pretty bad. And you know, I was pretty lucky in one state, I suppose, to get over that light.
Have you broken any other bones?
Yes, I've broken a lot of bones, a leg, a few ribs, all my toes and a few knuckles.
All your toes?
Yeah. So, you know, it's pretty dangerous, but I still enjoy it, even so there is that danger in there.
The final checks. A quick look at the ramp. He'll have to hit at 70 miles per hour if the jump is to be successful. At the same time, the cars are being lined up. They're borrowed from anyone who's prepared to lend one for the main event. Dale checks they're placed close enough together and counts them to make sure there are no more than he expects. For the Dubbo jump, there are only 12, less than half the number he'll have to clear for the world record. But any jump is a serious matter. He has to hit the ramp at exactly the right speed and the right angle to get safely across. He needs to have absolute confidence in the run-up, and in the absence of a speedometer, he must rely on concentration and experience to achieve the correct velocity on takeoff. Safely back on the ground, Dale rides his machine up the ramp fitted on the back of his father's utility for a triumphant exit. It's public relations once again. Dale autographs, Dale Buggins pennants, which are sold to admiring fans. The girls come to look at the rider, the boys at the machines. Today, nothing's gone wrong and everyone's happy, but it's not always so pleasant when there's been trouble. It's then that Ken Buggins is accused of putting pressure on his son.
Dale has brought a lot of pressure to bear on the Buggins family. The Buggins family has brought no pressure to bear on Dale. This has put a lot of pressure on our family.
But you encourage him?
No, I don't encourage, I go along with it. A thing like this, if you've got a son who does this, you've either got to be with him and help him, or you've got to say, it's out and finish, and then you've got a big problem on your hands.
Back home at Wyong, the training program for the world record attempt continues. This sort of jumping is not simply a question of flying off ramps at high speed. You have to know something about the aerodynamics of an airborne motorbike.
Motorcycle jumping basically all revolves around the speed of the back wheel, like a gyroscopic effect of the back wheel. You know, for instance, when you see a motorcycle on the ground and the driver hits it, the front of the bike comes up in the air because the wheel is on the ground and the bike tends to go around the wheel. In actual fact, the same thing's happened in mid-air, even though the wheel's on the ground. If the bike's nosing down and Dale accelerates quick, the front of the bike will come up and still tend to go around the back wheel. But when it's going in a backwards attitude, we have to do the opposite thing. We have to stop the back wheel. He can't do that by pressing on the brake because the linkages lose too much, and then when he presses down, of course, he lifts himself up. There's nothing to stop him going upwards. So we've worked out that it all boils down to where he shuts off the acceleration on the ramp. A different speed approach means a different shut-off point on the ramp. And Dale hasn't got a speedometer on the bike.
So he doesn't know what speed he's doing?
He jumps, no, he doesn't know what speed he's doing. It's all done, well, I guess a pilot would say, by the seat of his pants. Bring it over and put it here, between these two cars.
Ken Buggins brought his family to Australia when Dale was a baby. Since then, his earth-moving contracting business has prospered. It can now give Dale all the backup support he requires. The business will provide materials and additional manpower for an occasion such as this, the construction of the ramp for the world record attempt.
It's got to go right in the middle, isn't it?
For Dale's most spectacular public jump to date, they're building an exit ramp, which will cover the end of the row of 25 cars. Hopefully, it will provide a safe landing ground if Dale can't clear them all. Like most of the equipment used in the show, it's been designed by the partnership of father and son. Ken reckons he must have spent $5,000 on the show in the short time Dale has been a professional stuntman. But he has no idea of the number of hours' work involved. In any case, this is hardly the time to be worrying about such calculations. The date of the record attempt at Newcastle is not far away, and all efforts must be bent towards that one purpose. This is the event that will test all their plans and preparation.
That should be a spectacle, that one, I think.
You're looking forward to that?
Yeah, I think everyone's looking forward to that. There should be a real good crowd, the weather's fine, and they've got everything set ready for the big one.
Butterflies?
No, no butterflies.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, actually. I think Dale's a little bit uptight. I'm definitely a little bit uptight.
And while the bolts are being secured on Dale's takeoff ramp, the spectators are gathering, some with their own views on the performance they're about to see.
Well, I think he's a bloody fool. Don't you?
Well, I think he's very, very game.
I think he's a bit stupid and risking his life.
He's risking his life, all right, but I hope he makes it.
He's a hero. No way no one would attempt anything like it.
Yeah, he's got guts, all right.
I don't think he'll make it myself, quite honestly.
I hope he does do it. He doesn't hurt himself.
I think he might kill himself.
I couldn't think of a better way of getting a kick and also making a real fast buck in a very short time.
Over 10,000 people crowd the Newcastle Motordrome, which, for all its size, isn't big enough to stage the record attempt. Dale's cars, all 25 of them, are lined up nearby. Meanwhile, the crowd is being entertained by other stunts. A chance for anyone who thinks of Dale Buggins as a particularly reckless young man to make comparisons. A jump like that hardly seems a good omen. Ken Buggins is fully aware of the difference in the public's reaction to success or failure.
When he makes a successful jump, they come up and pat me on the back and say, "You should be very proud of your son, Mr. Buggins, he's fantastic." And when something goes wrong, like as in the past, they come and they say they should put you on the motorbike and fire you over there, and you ought to have more sense than exploiting your kid and all this. But every time Dale hears people say this, he pulls them into line pretty quick, because Dale's fed up with that attitude as well.
No one could make anyone do this, let's face it. You know, if you pull someone out of the street, pluck someone out of the street and say, you know, jump 25 cars, mate, he'd say you got to be off your rocker. You can't push people into doing things like this. There's just no way.
With cloak and helmet, Dale waits for the start. If he's nervous, he gives little sign. But for his family, this is a particularly anxious time. They know the importance of success. They know the cost of failure. His mother, for one, won't be watching the attempt. She'll walk as far away as possible.
I just feel sick. Just all het up and just sick. I wish I could relax and enjoy it more, you know, but that's just how I'm made, so just wait till it's all over and finished with and just breathe a sigh of relief.
Dale will have to leap a distance of 130 feet, not much shorter than the wingspan of a Boeing 707, to succeed. No doubt both he and the crowd remember only too well what happened at the Sydney Easter show.
Just wait alive there a second, okay?
Now a world record jump at 83 miles per hour over 25 cars.
What an amazing feat. Dale Buggins leapt further than 25 cars. My estimate is some 29 or 30 motor cars, thus establishing a new world record for solo stunt riding. Dale Buggins beat Evel Knievel's 19 cars, defeated Eddie Kidd's 21 cars, and now it would appear that he has established about 24, 25 or even 26 cars.
After that brilliant success, what now for the young stuntman?
There's a good possibility that we'll be going to the States. We have a promoter over in the States trying to organise some work, so there might be a possibility we might be flying out of the country and going to the States late this year. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for that.
While Dale goes off in triumph, Ken Buggins is left to his own thoughts.
I hope he's going to have a bit of time off and give us the rest of the family.
Well, congratulations.
I don't know, speechless really. I mean, that was, you know, what can you say? Absolutely perfection. Perfection. And he just did it in his cool manner. He come up to me before we started, he says, "This time, Dad." It's a very big achievement for Dale, personal achievement, you know. I know he'll write to his granddad and say, "Look, Grandad, I've beat Evel Knievel's record." He said he would 5 years ago, and his granddad says, "Forget that book, son." He said, "Get it out your head," you know. He said, "No, I'll beat it, Grandad," you know. And he'll write to him, he'll probably ring him tonight. I don't know where Dale is. I don't know where Dale is.
Okay.
He's in the U.
138 foot 7 inches.
138 foot 7 inches. What's it in metres?
2.25 metres.
I could do with a beer.
Who wants some?
But he's a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! To Dale. Oh, you fell over.
Cheers.
I'll have one.
Give one to Dale, man.
Let's have a glass. Looks good. That's the end of a lot of hard work, Nelly. What are you going to do now? Go for a bigger one. Go for a sleep tonight. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed tonight. I don't blame you.
It had been a huge success as we heard it.
Yeah, the shows was a success. We didn't make a lot of money out of the tour, but that was expected. It was a 4-year contract, and the first year was going to be the difficult one. But his shows, all the shows, was very successful. Standing applauses, and America really took to him. And he waved the Australian flag wherever he was. You know, he started off with the Australian flags and all that, and quite a patriotic young fella there.
He was a great showman too, of course, as well as being a patriot. Yes, you're quite right. The thing then, did you get any indication? I know all performers are under tremendous tension and everyone sort of gets really uptight often, but were you able to pick anything unusual?
Not really. There was a couple of times when there was a week or so between shows. We had to wait.
Yeah.
And he got pretty cheesed off with that. He said, I could be back home working on new acts and all that. And then one time he said to me, he said, you know, I'm pretty concerned about my future, Dad. What am I going to do in the future? And I said, well, I wouldn't worry about that if I were you, you know.
I want to talk about that later, because that obviously became an obsession with him, that whole fear, after he met Evel Knievel and that type of thing. Chantal, from your point of view, now that you've had time, tragically, to reflect on the whole thing, did you see any indications, to looking back and you think, buggosh, you know, was that really a pointer, that his state of mind was disturbed?
Well, there was things that I should have, or well, I shouldn't have really, because they weren't anything out of the usual. But
looking back, what were some of them?
He asked me for some note paper. He said he was going to write a letter to England, which was the suicide paper.
Yes.
Note. But just besides being tired from jet lag and everything, there was nothing.
Well, because he breezed through a press conference with you. Was he uptight before that at all?
No, it just seemed normal. A little tired, that's all.
Must be like a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
The note, did that have any clues in it at all?
No, not at all. We was actually a little scared. We knew there was no listen. We was obviously a little scared to wonder what the heck he may have put in the note, you know.
Yes.
But because obviously somebody says a thing like that, you wouldn't know what they could write in the note. But the note is down at the coroner's office now. But we know the note off by heart, and we have made it public because we feel a lot of people would make a lot of conjecture about it, and the note just said, I'm so confused with the world and the people in it. I can hardly think straight. Too many ups and downs. Look after the family, Dad. Your loving son, Dale. But we've kind of thought about it a lot, and we feel that all the implications, the ups and downs, was going to America and coming back and then starting of another show and that finishing, because obviously with a show there's a high and then it finishes and that's a low, and then the next show comes and it's an adrenaline thing and it's high and low. But he was never concerned about his work. His work was...
his work seemed to occupy so much of his time, and I wonder if that was one of the things that put him under great stress. Was he any good at personal relationships? Was he able to form friendships easily?
Not easily, no. He was a deep thinker. And
did he have people he could talk to, apart from the family, or...?
I think we was very close with each, you know, we were all so close together. He used to confide in us, we used to discuss lots of things together, everything actually, you know.
But did he have the ability to wind down Chantel?
No, that was something we always tried to, you know, do for him, but he was always tense. Deep thinker was his main problem, I think.
I don't think he could really relax, you know, but the bikes were his life, Mike, you know. Even when he had time for relaxation, he used to go for a ride on a bike or go to a motocross, and we used to say, look, divert yourself from it, get another interest.
Yeah.
He bought himself a jet ski last summer or the summer before. I think he used it twice altogether. The bikes was his life, he was obsessed with them, you know.
Of course, the thing is that there again, that's, the dreadful thing about being a public figure is it's very hard in the family because so many stories evolve always, and they're often unfair. But one of the things that was often said was that you were pushing him. And of course, people then say, he was pushed too far, and that type of thing.
Towards the end, of course, Dale had made this plain in so many interviews that people realised that this wasn't true. You cannot push anybody to do what Dale does, you know.
But the point I'd like you to make, which I know, is the fact that you, in fact, were working very hard to reduce the risk in his stunts. In fact, would I be right in saying they were fail-safe?
If I let Dale down in any way, it was that I made his acts and his stunts that safe that with his type of confidence, there was very little risk in it at all. And he did say to me, he said, Dad, he said, I'm just getting a bit fed up with show business. He said, I like doing the shows, but I'm getting nothing out of it. He said, I just go and do the jumps and the high wire act and take the applause. He said, and I'm doing the same thing. And I said, well, Frank Sinatra sings the same songs. I've been doing 50 years with a different audience. He said, yes, but he said, I've got to do some more world records. He says, the Newcastle show was the best. And he said, I've got to do something that I'm getting something out of. And I had really got it down to a fine art where Dale could have done what he did for 10 years. And I'd kind of made him into an entertainer, not a life risker. It looked that way at all.
Yes.
So I think probably that a lot of the challenge had gone for him. You know, there was, you know, like a lot of the challenges that he kind of, you know, he did a lot of world record jumps when he started off. And of course we cut all that down. We didn't want him to do it, you know, because they were very risky. And I think probably a lot of the challenge had gone out of things for him, you know. Although Ken was arranging for another record jump when you got back from America, weren't you?
He insisted that he said, look, we're going to do the bus jump again. And I said, no, we're not going to do that, Dale. No, you've done it once, you can't do it again. He said, well, Dad, I'm going to do it. And whatever you say, I'm going to get another world record and have another go to big jump, something that I feel good at. So that morning, on Wednesday morning, I spoke to the Newcastle Motordrome promoter. And I said, oh, Dale's back. And I said, he's really pushing and chanting. He wants to have another go at this thing. I said, let's do something different. Well, in America, we saw a boy jump over a helicopter. It's only an 85-foot jump. It's perfectly safe. You know, Dale jumped 150 feet and all that sort of thing. So that might sound a little crazy now. So I said, can you get a helicopter? And he said, yeah, you get a helicopter. So I knew the next phone call I got from Dale would be, did you get all of Peter Gabel? And that's why it was, well, if you didn't...